Hello and welcome to Into the Woods with Holly Worton. This podcast has evolved over the 5+ years since it first launched. From now on, I'm going to be talking about deepening your connection with yourself, taking inspired action, and really trusting yourself and your intuition. And also mindset, of course, but mindset of all kinds, not just business mindset. I think. Things are changing for me, as you may have noticed if you've been following me online or listening to this podcast, so anything goes here. I hope you stay along for the ride. Thank you so much for joining us today, and now let's get into this week's episode. Hello and welcome to the Into the Woods podcast, episode 356. This is your host, Holly Worton, and I'm back with another solo episode. Today, I'm talking about asking for and receiving help. These are two things that have always been really difficult for me. I'm not good at asking for help when I need it, and I'm not good at accepting help when people that care about me see that I need help and offer it. There have been some ridiculous examples in my life of times when people offered help to me and I said, oh, no thanks, I can do that on my own, and then really regretted it. And we are, as I record this, still in lockdown here in the UK, and things really haven't changed much since last weekend's update. My moods have still been kind of up and down, more down than up, I'm going to be honest. And I've had some extra kind of personal and professional stress going on in my life lately. And this week I had to ask for help, and that wasn't easy for me. So I thought this would be a really useful topic for this week's episode because when I'm struggling with something, I often find that my listeners or my newsletter readers are often experiencing similar challenges. So before I get started today, I'm going to ask you, are you good at asking for help when you need it? Can you accept help when it's offered to you? Think about that. I think a lot of us sometimes think that we're better at asking for and accepting help than we think we are. I, however, know that it's something that I'm really not good at. So what are you going to learn in this week's episode? You're going to learn how to know when you need help, how to know what kind of help or support you need or want, how to ask for help and get it, how to know when you need professional help rather than support from friends, and finally, how to accept help when it's offered to you. So, how do you know when you need help? And this is tricky. And I think the more you know yourself, the easier that is. I think I know myself pretty well, and I think I still struggle sometimes knowing when I actually need to ask for help. So I think one of the main ways to know whether you need to ask for help or support is, are you functioning well? Are you able to do the things you need to do in your life? Are you able to take care of your kids, your family, do your work, take care of yourself? Are you functioning well? And not just are you functioning at the bare minimum, but are you thriving? Are you doing really well? Are you coping? And I've been functioning. I've not been doing all the things that I want to do. Some days I just do like the bare minimum, that basic stuff that I need to do. I do my client work, but I don't do my personal work. I haven't worked on any of my books in probably a few weeks. And that doesn't feel great, but I'm functioning. I'm eating, I'm taking care of myself. I'm exercising, not as often as I'd like, but it's happening. But the sign for me that I needed help this week was just realizing that I've had more kind of down days than up days, and realizing that I had been feeling kind of like crap for a few days in a row, and it didn't feel good. And what happened was, during one of my Master Gut calls, and it wasn't even this week, it was last week's call, I talked about some things that I was going through, and one of my friends actually, they all offered help. But one of them in particular stuck in my mind, had offered me help with like tapping or EFT. And that stuck in my mind. And so this week I was not feeling well, and I knew that getting out of the office and going for a walk would help make me feel better, but I just didn't want to. But in the end, I forced myself to go for a walk. And I'm out on my walk and I'm walking and I'm thinking, I don't feel like doing this, but I'm gonna get in my 10,000 steps because that's kind of my benchmark for a decent length walk. But I was really tempted to just go back home and sulk in my room and be in a bad mood. But I forced myself to go walking and stay out there. And as I was walking, I was thinking, okay, this friend of mine offered help. She saw that I needed help. I think I need help. So I sent her this really disjointed message and said, hey, you offered to do a tapping session with me. Can I take you up on that? I know you're really busy, but just let me know if you have time in the next few days to do that because I'm feeling really depressed and it's not shifting. And please help. So within an hour or so, she texted me back and said, yeah, I have some time on Friday. Let me know if that's good. Does that work for you? What time is good? And we arranged a time. And I had this really great session with her. And I hadn't done EFT in ages, probably over a year. And to be honest, I haven't used Psych-K with myself since last year. I just haven't been doing that kind of work because I've been doing different kinds of work with myself. But to be honest, I hadn't done any kind of work with myself in ages. So it was just really, really good to show up to this call, and she had a very professional session with me. This is part of the work that she does. And it was really good, and it was really easy, and it felt really supportive, and I really felt like it shifted things, and I really felt lighter afterwards. And I sent her a message and I said, thank you so much for this. You are so good at what you do, and I really appreciate this. And she wrote back to me and said, it's my pleasure. I really mean that. I really enjoyed it. I was just so glad that I asked for help. And I was so glad that I was able to receive. And as we were doing the session, she said, I really think this is not the only work we need to do. I think you're going to need to at least another session. So let's, make time to do this next week. And I was like, oh, thank you. And she just kind of laughed and she said, after all the help you've given me, this is the least I can do. And I realized I am so good at helping other people. People send me emails all the time and they're like, hey, can I pick your brains on this? Hey, can I get your help with this? And I'm happy to help. This is the thing. I don't mind helping other people. On the contrary, I love helping other people. People send me emails sometimes and they're like, how do I do this thing? And I'm like, oh, that's really good. Let me write a blog post about that. Here's the link. Tell me if you have any more questions and we'll have a chat. I've had so many conversations with people that have just said, hey, can I pick your brains on this? Can I pick your brains on that? I'm so happy to help. I have I've given friends healing sessions, even though I don't do that kind of work anymore because I want to help. I love helping people. I'm not good at receiving. So I was so pleased that not only did I receive the session that I had today, because that was today that this happened, but I allowed myself to accept another healing session next Thursday. And I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm just so pleased with myself for having accepted this. So that's my story. But as I said, there have been times in the past where I haven't accepted help. I remember when my husband and I first moved to the UK, we were staying for the first 3 weeks in London at this B&B. And the B&B owners were the guy was a cab driver. And when we checked out of their place and got ready to move into our flat, they said to us, we've got a big cab. We had all this luggage. Why don't you let us drive you to your new place with your luggage? Any reasonable person would have said, yes, please take your giant London cab and put our luggage in it and drive us there. It was by car, I think it would have been a maximum 5-minute drive, probably less. We were moving really close. But I didn't want to bother them. So I said, oh, thank you so much, but no, we'll be fine. And they said, really? Are you sure? It's no problem at all. And I was like, no problem at all. We'll be fine. We were not fine. We had to walk like that 5-minute drive was probably like, I don't know, 15-minute walk at least, with like 5 or 6 pieces of luggage plus backpacks between us. We did it all in one trip. It was so ridiculous. And as we were like sweating and dragging this luggage up this street in London, I was thinking, what the hell is wrong with me? Why didn't I just say yes? They offered help, not once, but twice, maybe 3 times. I don't remember the details. This was 10 years ago. But like, they offered help and I said no because I didn't want to bother them. It would have been so easy for them, and it was such a pain in the ass for us to carry this luggage uphill to our new flat. Ugh, it was ridiculous. So if you're the kind of person who struggles to accept support, hope you found that amusing, and I hope you can find examples in your own life of when you ridiculously did not accept help so that you can hopefully make it easier to accept help in the future. So that was my how do you know when you need help. You really got to tap into yourself and just know when you're not doing it on your own. Like if you've had many days on end where you're just not doing well, you're feeling depressed, your moods are down, and you can't get yourself out of it, or you haven't gotten yourself out of it, that's time to get help. So how do you know what kind of help or what kind of support you need? Maybe you need just a friendly chat so you don't feel lonely. You know, we're all stuck at home now. I've been having lots of, Zoom calls with friends, which is actually normal for me because most of my friends don't live in my local area. But I've also canceled some friendly chats with people because I just wasn't feeling up to it. So maybe you need a friendly chat. Maybe you can't handle a friendly chat. Maybe you just need someone to listen to your problems and just unload your crap. Like at the start of my call with my friend, she said, what can I help with? And I was like, I think I just need to unload for 5 minutes and just like vomit a bunch of words to you. And then we'll see what I need help with. Because I'm feeling depressed, but I'm not quite sure what the root is of this. So maybe you just need someone to listen. Maybe you need advice. Maybe you need mentoring. Maybe you need like solid, what do I do with this? Maybe you just need company again, so you don't feel lonely. Maybe you need someone to just be there for you. Maybe you need someone to just like be there in silence for you. Maybe you need to have a call with friends where you just like hang out and like do some work together or read a book. Like you each read a book, but you're like on the call. I don't know. Like there are so many ways to get company. Maybe you need healing. Like I have so many friends that are healers and coaches and therapists. And we have at many times in the past helped each other for free. Like if a friend comes to me and says, hey, I need help with this, like I'm not going to say no. I'm happy to help. Or maybe you need help from a friend's network. Like maybe a friend of a friend could help you with a thing. Maybe you don't know someone who can help with your problem, but you think maybe a friend might know someone. I remember years ago when I was in bad financial place because I'd gotten into credit card debt and I didn't know how to get out of it. And this was before like 0% credit cards were a big thing. And God, it was at least 15 years ago. And I just didn't know what to do, but I was getting all these like calls from creditors and I was like, this is so stressful. I don't know what to do. And I remember just sending out like emails to a handful of friends. And I think some friends were afraid that I was asking for money, which I wasn't. I just legitimately didn't know what to do. So a couple of people were like, hey, I don't know, but good luck with that. And I remember I had a call with a family friend and I kind of suspect that he thought I was asking for money, but I wasn't. And he was like, hey, I don't know what to do, but good luck with that. And I was like, shit. And then there was this one friend who like totally stepped up and was like, hey, my partner had this problem and he did this. So maybe you could look into that. And you know what? My sister's a lawyer. Here's her phone number. You call her. She said you could call her. And so I looked into what her partner had done and that was what I ended up doing. But I also called the lawyer sister and I got some advice from her for free. So you never know. So if you have a problem, like put it out there to your friends and be like, hey, do you know any, like, what would you do? Do you have friends that know what to do? Do you have family? Like, what do I do with this? Help. So maybe you need support from a friend's network. There are so many options. So how do you ask for help, especially when it's something that is really uncomfortable for you? Like when I sent out that email to friends 15 years ago asking them for help with my credit card debt, I had so much shame. I had so much shame around, oh my God, how did I get myself into this situation? Oh my God, how can I not get myself out of this situation on my own? Like I'm a business owner. I should know how to do this. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. So much shame. But I just sucked it up and did it. So how do you ask for help? How do you make this as painless as possible? First of all, like respect the fact that you're not expected to know everything. Like life throws situations at us and we get ourselves into situations that sometimes we don't know how to get out of on our own. Like you can't be expected to know everything. And sometimes we Google things and we still don't get the answers. So like sometimes we need like personal support and help and advice that we can't get from online. So just respect the fact that you don't need to know everything. Different people have different knowledge banks, different people have different experience, different people have different areas of expertise, and different people are going to be able to help you with things that you can't necessarily do for yourself. And that's fine. That doesn't mean that you are less of a person. That doesn't mean that you are bad or wrong or whatever. It's not something to be ashamed of. So respect the fact that you don't need to know everything. You can't be expected to know everything. Be respectful of their time. Like, you are asking them for their time in whatever way it is, whether it's even to just respond to an email. So be mindful of not writing a super long email. Maybe make it short and to the point as a first point of email. Explain the situation and be respectful of the profession if you're asking for professional help. So this friend of mine who gave me the EFT session, she's kind of a coach and mentor and she does all kinds of things, but this is one of the things that she gets paid for from clients. So I was mindful of that. Like she was basically giving me professional help for free. Now I've done the same for her in the past and that's why I felt okay doing it. But be respectful of their time and be respectful of the fact that you may be asking them for something for free that other people would pay them for. So be willing to offer something in exchange if you haven't built up credit with them. And I don't think that friendship should be a quid pro quo. Like I do this for you and you do this for me. But there should be a give and take. Like if one person is always asking for something and never giving something, be mindful of that. Be mindful of how that exchange has been. I know that I have a lot of credit built up with people because it's very easy for me to give, but not easy for me to receive. So that's why I felt okay asking for it. But also know what you need from them and be specific. Like I said to her, hey, you offered me an EFT session. Can I please have that? Do you have time to help me with that, please? And know what you don't need. Like maybe you want a coaching session. Maybe you don't want advice. Maybe you just need someone to listen. Maybe you don't want to know what they do. I don't know. Know what you want, know what you need, and conversely, know what you don't want and what you don't need. And be specific when you ask them for their help. And know who to ask for help. I remember when I sent out that email, like I said, 15 years ago with the credit card debt, I kind of made a list of the top 5 or 6 people that I thought could help, who would know. And I just sent it out. And as I said, some of those people were willing to help. Some of those people were not. I think some of those people were freaked out by the request and thought I meant something that I didn't mean. But interestingly, the person who I least thought would be helpful was the most helpful person. And I remember just being really just so grateful that this person who was a friend, but not like a super close friend, really stepped up to help me. And there have been times in my life where people who have been kind of not really good friends, but I don't want to say minor friends, but not close friends. and even acquaintances have stepped up and helped me in ways that have just made me so grateful. So when you're making your list of people that you are going to ask for help, expand that list to people like anyone that you think might have the knowledge or skill or whatever. Because sometimes people step up and help you in ways that you think, oh my God, I did not expect that from them. So, how to ask for help. That's my advice. How to know when you need professional help rather than support from friends. So again, I'm really lucky in the fact that I have a lot of friends who are therapists and counselors and do all that kind of healing and well-being stuff. So my friends are also professional mental health care people. But sometimes I think most people probably don't have that kind of friendship group. So if you have normal friends that have oh God, I almost said real jobs. Oh shit. If you have normal friends that have non-healing professional jobs, like doctors doctors are healing people. Okay, so if you have people who are like lawyers and accountants and you need a mental health question or support, help, you might need to ask a professional. And you might ask friends for a professional reference. But be aware that your friends, if you're having really big mental health issues, like deep depression or other mental health issues, your friends might not be qualified to deal with that. They probably won't. So be aware of the magnitude of what you're asking for your friends. And be aware that they may not be able to help you in the ways that you need help. And be aware that you might need professional help. So with that credit card thing, the friend who helped me with her sister gave me professional help and her partner was able to give me practical help on what had worked for him. But with legal help, if you have a legal issue that you need help with, you're probably going to need to hire a lawyer or at least ask a lawyer friend what they would suggest in terms of who you should hire. But there are big things like legal issues, mental health issues, medical issues that you will probably need a professional rather than a friend, unless you have lots of doctors and mental health care professional friends. But be aware that your friends might not be able to give you the support that you need. I think that's something that's always important to have in mind. They might want to help you, but they might just not be capacitated to help you. So be aware of that when asking. So how to accept help when it's offered to you? My friend that helped me offered me help about 10 days before I actually accepted the help. So there was a delay. It wasn't like she offered it and I was instantly like, yes, please, thank you. It took a while for me to accept the fact that I needed the help and that it was okay for me to accept it. So how to accept help when it's offered to you and you're not good at receiving? Start out by looking at why it's difficult for you to receive help. And this is something that whether or not you need help right now, if you know that it's difficult for you to receive, look at that. Pause this podcast or look at it when you get off the podcast. Journal on it. Think on it, reflect on it, talk about it with a friend. Why is it so difficult for you to receive help? What are your beliefs around you receiving help? Do you believe that it's better to give than receive? Do you believe that you are worthy of receiving help? Are you deserving of receiving help? Do you not want to bother people? Do you feel like you would be bothering people by accepting their help even though they offered it to begin with? Do you believe that accepting help is a weakness? Are you willing to be vulnerable and accept help from these people that have offered it to you? Are you in denial of needing help? Do you believe that you have to do everything on your own? Do you have to be Superman, Superwoman? What are your beliefs? What are your limiting beliefs around you accepting help? What are the beliefs that make it difficult for you to accept help from people, even though you know you need it? Ask these questions of yourself, whether or not you need help right now. I think it's really useful to explore this. For me, I think a lot of times I really like to be self-sufficient. I really like to do stuff on my own, and I don't want to bother people. I don't have that belief that it's better to give than receive. However, that's how my life functions. Like, I'm really good at giving, not really good at receiving. And there may be some self-worth issues there. There may be some beliefs that I'm not worthy of receiving help. But I think my basic beliefs are that I have to do it all on my own, and I don't want to bother people. Those are my main things. So I would like to suggest that you ask yourself those questions and remember to help others. Again, it's not a quid pro quo, but I think when you help other people, you build up credit not just with these specific individuals, but just in general with the universe. Like, I think that I've been so helpful to people that other people have been very generous with their help with me in terms of offering, even though I don't always say yes. But I think that when we have that attitude of helping others, it just builds up good energy in the universe, and it makes other people more likely to offer their help to us. So, help others. Offer your own help. If you see people needing help, offer it. If you know you can offer it. If you know you can help. And finally, make a list of supportive people in your life and make a list of how they can help you. I have not done this yet, but I'm gonna do it this weekend in my journal. So I kind of have a mental idea of people that I know have helped me in the past, people that have offered to help me in the past. But as a result of just texting with friends, like last week I was texting with a friend and I was saying, oh, I just haven't been feeling well lately. I've been feeling kind of down. And she said, know that I'm here to talk to you if you need it. Like, I'm here to help. So people will step up and offer if you express the fact that you need help. So make a list of people that are supportive, because also not everyone in your life will be supportive like this. Like, sometimes we have family members that aren't great helpers. Sometimes we have people that we think are friends, or we consider them to be friends, but really they're better at receiving than they are at giving. So be honest about the people in your life and make a list of the people that are supportive. And reach out when you need to. Really get good at evaluating whether or not you need help. And I encourage you, if you're having a rough time, reach out for help, because it can make a huge, huge difference. You don't have to suffer on your own. You don't have to suffer at all. You can get help before it becomes a suffering. So, I hope you found this episode interesting and useful. Hope you get the help that you need if you need it. And please drop me a line and let me know what you thought. You can email me at holly@hollyworton.com or find me online and get in touch there. Thank you so much for listening. And if you have any ideas for podcast topics, please email me and let me know. I love receiving suggestions for topics from my listeners, and those are often my favorite topics. So please send me any ideas you have. I really find that useful and interesting. And remember to visit hollyworton.com/356 for the show notes on this episode. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks so much for listening to Into the Woods with Holly Worton. You can find more information about today's episode, including links for topics that were discussed, at hollyworton.com. That's HOLLYWORTON.com. If you'd like to connect with other listeners and get support on your journey, I would love for you to join my private community on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Holly Worton. That's patreon.com/Holly Worton. Thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to seeing you next week.